Are you feeling like a fraud? Struggling with job uncertainty or complete mental exhaustion? You're not alone. I've been through seasons of self-doubt, unexpected job loss, and complete burnout. It feels isolating. This compilation brings together moments and reflections on imposter syndrome, redundancy, and burnout, not just as topics, but as real-life challenges I've faced. If you're going through any of these, I hope this video reminds you that you're not alone, and that it's okay to pause, to feel, and to take care of yourself. Everyone's better than you. You just got lucky. You're not enough. Have you ever sat in a meeting surrounded by brilliant minds and silently wondered, what if they find out I don't belong here? You're not alone. In fact, some of the most capable people I know, developers, data scientists, engineers, feel the exact same way. Today we talk about something that silently affects thousands in tech. Rarely discussed, but deeply felt. The term that has been defined, imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is that persistent feeling that you're not as competent as others think you are. Even when evidence says you're skilled, experienced, and successful, you still doubt yourself. In analytics and technology, where the learning curve never ends and you're constantly surrounded by brilliance, it thrives. A Stack Overflow survey once showed that nearly 58% of developers have felt like frauds. But why is that? The technical world evolves fast. One week you're an expert in a tool, and the next it's obsolete. There's always someone younger, faster, or seemingly smarter posting perfect projects on LinkedIn or GitHub. Algorithms don't sleep. Code doesn't care if you're tired. In tech, we worship knowledge. And when we don't know something, it feels like we're unworthy. I'll be honest with you. I have a degree and a master's. I have had the privilege of working for some of the top organizations with outstanding colleagues in the UK. But as a data analyst, I've spent nights staring at dashboards thinking, I should know this by now. I've sat in rooms where everyone seemed to speak a foreign language of APIs and regressions. And I doubted everything I had learned. I thought maybe I had just been lucky. But then I realized, even the people I admired most had moments like that. Imposter syndrome was first defined in 1978. Psychologists found it most common in high achievers, people who couldn't internalize success. It's fueled by perfectionism, fear of failure, and comparison. In tech, where meritocracy feels like a religion, if you can't prove your worth in code, you question your worth entirely. But here's the paradox. The more skilled you are, the more likely you are to feel it, because you actually know how much you don't know. Here are 5 key points to remember. 1. Talk about it. Share your feelings with teammates. You'll be shocked how many relate. 2. Document your wins. Keep a journal of moments where you solved something, got praise, or made an impact. 3. Teach others. Teaching reminds you how much you truly know. 4. Redefine expertise. Expertise doesn't mean knowing everything. It means knowing where to look and how to learn. 5. Celebrate being uncomfortable. Because discomfort is a sign you're growing. Imposter syndrome tells you you don't belong. But I'm here to remind you, you do. Not because you know everything, not because you're perfect, but because you show up, you care, you learn. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs it. Let's normalize the conversation, because healing starts with honesty, and brilliance begins with belief. At Dr. Data Insights, we get real about the technical and the mental. Sometimes we all just need a reminder. We have the skills. We have the experience. We can make things happen. One day you're deep in dashboards, ideating and delivering insights. The next, your position no longer exists. Just like that. Redundant. You weren't fired. You didn't fail. But now you're jobless, and no one really prepares you for what that feels like. Hey, I'm Dr. Data Insights, and this is Inside the Mind of an Analyst, where we talk about the human side of working in data. In our last episode, we explored imposter syndrome, the quiet whisper that says, you're not good enough. But today, it's not a whisper. It's a jarring announcement. Your role has been made redundant. Let's get into it. This conversation isn't just about surviving layoffs, it's about how we process, recover, and sometimes rebuild better. I want this episode to offer clarity, compassion, and practical steps, because yes, redundancy hurts, but it doesn't define your value. The moment you hear the words, "Your position is being eliminated," it feels surreal. Even if you saw it coming, it still lands like a punch to the gut. In that instant, everything freezes. You start calculating. What does this mean for my finances? My family? My self-worth? Redundancy isn't the same as being fired for performance. Often it's about budget cuts, restructuring, automation, or shifts in company strategy. Still, it feels personal. You might replay every meeting or project in your head, wondering if you missed a sign. You might even start blaming yourself. That's normal, but pause and breathe. It's not all on you. In the tech and data industry, redundancy is especially tricky. Roles evolve rapidly. Companies pivot, and sometimes even the most high-performing analysts are let go. Not because they failed, but because the landscape changed. It's okay to be shocked. It's okay to be upset. But it's also okay to let that be just the first step in your response, not the final one. After the shock comes a wave of emotions. Anger, sadness, denial, embarrassment, even relief sometimes. You might feel all of these in one day. Losing a job is a form of loss, and the stages of grief absolutely apply. Denial. This can't be happening. Anger. Why me? Bargaining. Maybe I can talk them out of it. Depression. I'm worthless. Acceptance. This happened. Now what? The challenge is that we often rush ourselves through these stages, or worse, suppress them. But if you don't make space to feel, it leaks out in other ways. Burnout, bitterness, or fear that follows you into your next role. Here's the truth. It's human to feel. Redundancy is a deeply emotional experience. Honor that. Journal. Talk to someone. Take a walk. Scream into a pillow if you have to. Don't pretend it doesn't affect you. Processing it now means you don't carry it as unprocessed baggage later. This one's hard to accept. Redundancy usually isn't personal. That doesn't mean it doesn't feel personal. But feelings and facts can coexist. Let's challenge that thought. You are not your job title. You are not your employment status. And you are definitely not disposable. Let's repeat that thought. You are not your job title. You are not your employment status. And you are definitely not disposable. Your work mattered. Your skills still matter. And the fact that you were part of the team meant you brought value, even if the company changed directions. Understanding this helps you move forward with your self-worth intact, because that's something no redundancy can take away. One of the most painful parts of redundancy is how it hits your identity. For many of us, especially in data careers, our roles are tied to our sense of purpose. When that role is stripped away, the question becomes, who am I without this job? This is a time for reflection, not retreat. Yes, you're an analyst, or a scientist or engineer, but you're also a problem solver, a communicator, a lifelong learner. Those are traits, not titles. Now's the time to reconnect with those traits. Start by listing your accomplishments. Seriously, write them down. What projects made you proud? What challenges did you overcome? What feedback did you receive? Then, look at what excites you now. Maybe it's data storytelling. Maybe it's mentoring. Maybe it's switching tracks entirely. Redundancy can be a doorway to reinvention, but only if you let yourself explore what's next without fear. Now let's talk tangible steps. Emotion is real, but action grounds us. Check your paperwork. Understand your severance package, benefits, and final paycheck. If you're unsure, speak to HR or a legal advisor. Find local assistance. There's no shame in this. It's a safety net for moments like this. Update your resume and LinkedIn. Keep it honest, but highlight results. Use data-driven language to quantify your impact. Reach out to your network. Tell people you're looking. Don't wait for job ads. 70% of roles are filled through referrals. Take care of your mental health. Schedule your days to avoid falling into isolation. Include rest, job searching, learning, and connection. Skill up, but strategically. Don't just collect certificates. Choose one area that enhances your core skill set, maybe data storytelling, Python automation, or business acumen. Stay visible. Post on LinkedIn, Share insights. Comment thoughtfully. Show the world you're still active and valuable. Action doesn't erase emotion, but it gives you back a sense of agency, and that's a powerful antidote to helplessness. Let's zoom out. Why are so many data professionals experiencing redundancy? There are a few forces at play. Automation and AI are reducing the need for some manual reporting roles. Economic tightening makes non-revenue generating roles more vulnerable. Organizational restructuring often deprioritizes internal analytics. But here's what's also true. Data is still the future. Companies may cut analysts today, but they'll still need insights tomorrow. The key is positioning. Analysts who speak the language of business, who can tie data to decisions, are less likely to be seen as nice to have, and more like must have. Redundancy can be a signal, not that the industry is dying, but that the definition of value is shifting. Your job is to shift with it. Redundancy is painful, but it can also be clarifying. You get to pause, reflect, decide, what do I actually want? Many people I've coached used redundancy as a launchpad, to pivot into data science, to freelance or consult, to build a portfolio and break into a dream company, to leave toxic work cultures behind. In 2024 alone, over 260,000 tech workers were laid off. That's like wiping out the entire population of a mid-sized city. Engineers, analysts, designers, gone in one fiscal year. No one chooses redundancy, but you can choose what comes after. This isn't about toxic positivity, it's about agency. What can you learn from this experience? What does it make space for? Your career is not one job, it's a body of work. And one chapter closing doesn't mean the book is over. If you're still listening, thank you. That says something about your resilience already. Redundancy is real, it's hard, it's not fair. But it's not the end. This episode wasn't just about coping. It was about reframing, how we understand our worth, our path, and the possibilities still ahead. Remember, you are not alone. You are not less valuable. You are still an analyst, whether someone pays you for it today or not. And if this episode spoke to you, please share it. Someone else in your network might need it more than you know. I'm Dr. Data Insights, and this has been Inside the Mind of an Analyst. Until next time, stay curious, stay strong, and keep analyzing more than just data. Analyze yourself too. I didn't notice I was burned out, I just thought I was falling behind. That's how burnout often begins, not with a crash, but with a slow erosion. One missed lunch break becomes a pattern. One 12-hour sprint becomes the new norm. One tweak to the model turns into 3 a.m. As analysts, we pride ourselves on being accurate, efficient, and valuable. But there's a paradox. The more valuable your skill, the more invisible your stress can become. Burnout isn't just being tired. According to the World Health Organization, burnout is a syndrome stemming from chronic workplace stress, characterized by exhaustion, mental, emotional, even physical, cynicism or detachment from the work, reduced efficacy, feeling like nothing you do makes a difference. Sound familiar? In a 2022 Gallup study, 76% of employees reported feeling burned out at least sometimes. But in data-heavy roles, the signs can hide behind dashboards, deadlines, and just one more query. Let's break it down. Cognitive load. Every day you manage massive cognitive tasks, models, pipelines, reports. You're not just clicking buttons, you're solving puzzles. Perfection pressure. In a world of uncertainty, everyone expects you to be certain. What does the data say? Are you sure? Invisibility of effort. When your job is translating chaos into clarity, people forget the chaos you just fought through. Context switching. From ad hoc to projects, to stand-up to meeting to reporting to debugging. Rinse and repeat. The job doesn't feel hard in the traditional sense. It feels draining. I remember one quarter when I delivered major dashboards, automated an ETL process, and hit every goal. What did I feel? Not pride, numbness. I wasn't celebrating. I was just moving to the next thing. I'd lost joy, and I didn't know when it had slipped away. It took me missing a simple mistake, and having a manager gently say, "You okay?" to realize I wasn't. Let me be clear. Burnout is not a personal failure. It's a systemic response to chronic overextension without recovery. In fact, burnout is common in high-achieving, high-accountability roles, which describes most analysts I know. You are trained to make things better. Burnout says, you're broken. But that's a lie. You're not broken. The system around you is. A Harvard Business Review study found that high performers who routinely overwork see a decline in creative problem solving by up to 25% after prolonged stress. Another from the American Psychological Association showed that rested teams made better decisions with 40% fewer errors because clarity doesn't come from chaos. If we, as analysts, trust data, why ignore what it says about ourselves? So what can we do? 1. Redefine breaks as strategic. Instead of 4 hours of slogging, use the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of rest. Cognitive science says our brain peaks and bursts. 2. Build good enough mindsets. Your model doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to be useful. Adopt the mindset of MVPs, minimum viable products, even in analysis. 3. Say no with data. Track your work in simple logs. When overloaded, show your manager. I've handled X dashboards, Y queries, and Z fixes this week. Adding more would reduce quality. Use your own tools to guard your time. 4. Build analytical allies. You're not alone. Find others who get the pressure. Weekly 15-minute vent check-in sessions help normalize boundaries and share recovery tactics. Burnout doesn't announce itself. It creeps in, disguised as productivity. Rest is not the enemy of output. Boundaries are not resistance. They're resilience. Your worth is not in dashboards delivered or queries cleaned. You are not just a function. You are a force. So pause. Protect your energy. And remember, you can't optimize a system by breaking its processor.